you ever asked yourself, how can a person possibly see things that way? How could something that I was doing or you were doing to help someone or bless someone be looked at and maybe interpreted as selfish or controlling or for our own personal benefit? Why is it sometimes when our heart is actually pure, when our motives are pure, and we reach out and we try to make something better or help someone through a tough thing, the old saying comes flying back, right? No good deed goes unpunished. I don't know about you, but in my life anyways, it happens way too frequently. Let me share a story. I was taking my son to a basketball event in Atlanta, and we were hungry, obviously. We walked into a Subway. We're getting a sandwich, and a homeless woman comes into the Subway, and she begins asking everyone there for someone to buy her some food, buy her a sandwich. So I did. In the process of ordering her sandwich and her getting her food, she was difficult, to say the least. In fact, she might have become the most difficult customer that this particular Subway had, maybe in its history, I don't know, but at least for that day. She was demanding, she was obnoxious, and I could see the look in the employee's eyes saying to me kind of, thanks a lot, maybe next time don't be so charitable. Well, the icing on the cake was, as she was getting her food and heading quickly to the door, one of the employees might have said something along the lines of, you should say thank you. And she looked at me after I'd paid, of course, and she said, I ain't thanking no man for nothing. When the employee that had suggested that she say thank you looked at me and said, I don't know how you don't rip the sandwich back out of her hand. The point is, all of us can be unbelievably ungrateful. Have we ever really spent much time thinking about how in the world does God not just rip the sandwich out of our hands? So I told the employee, I said, but for the grace of God go I. And I think if we're being honest, most of us could say the same thing, but for the grace of God go I. The big picture is, as our mind becomes corrupted by too much of the world and too much of Satan's intentions, and us embracing Satan's intentions, our view of the entire life experience becomes equally corrupted. Our view of people's intentions and purposes become corrupted. The Bible says in Titus 1:15-16, to the pure, all things are pure, but to those who are corrupted and do not believe, nothing is pure. Both their minds and consciences are corrupted. They claim to know God, but by their actions they deny Him. They are detestable, disobedient, and unfit for doing anything good. All of us know and can point to 1,000 examples of ungrateful and corrupted people, but the point is to always remember that we need to get the plank out of our own eye before pointing to the speck of dust in our neighbor's eye. We need to ask ourselves, are we seeing the dark side of everything? Are we seeing everyone's intentions as selfish or corrupt? Do we see the darkest interpretation of all events? We need to take a moment and pray and ask God if we are on the right side of Him. Because as we draw closer to Him, we begin to experience a purity in how we see things, our interpretation of events, and how we see other people. Not that we see other people as perfect, but we start seeing them more as God sees them and less as how Satan wants us to see them. But we should make no mistake, God is first interested in fixing us before we can really be a blessing to the world around us. See things as they truly are, a beautiful creation from a loving and perfect Creator. A thought for the day. Until next time.